Welcome back, everyone. Hi, I hope that you're all safe and well at the moment. Great to see you again. Just wanted to drop you another vlog. Conscious that I haven't said very much this weekend. That's for quite a good reason. You know, there's not been very much going on this weekend. I haven't done very much treatment whatsoever. I've just been very much relaxing and taking it easy, which is exactly what I needed. I think I feel very nice and rested now. But yeah, I wanted to touch base with you guys. It's Sunday night now, so I wanted to fill you in on a few other things, really. So far, we've spoken about what I gave you a brief overview in my first episode of everything that's happened up until now. I've told you then a bit about what I'm doing here at the clinic here in Germany. Throughout that, I've mentioned things that I've done outside of regular kind of treatment, I suppose, and I just wanted to fill in some of those gaps. There's quite a lot of stuff. I'm not going to cover it all in detail. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about the three main kind of subjects I'm going to talk about here, which is going to be diet, supplements, and kind of what we refer to as off-label drugs or repurposed drugs. Now, each one of those is probably worth its own episode. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of those things, which I've been doing over the kind of last 7 or 8 months now. And then hopefully in the future, I'll break each one down into its own video, answer any questions that I get about those subjects, because they are huge and there are naturally lots of things that people might want to ask about those types of things. And if I were to try and do it all in one, video would be about an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and I'd lose you all after 30, 40 minutes anyway. So I'm going to try and keep my videos down to the kind of 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes kind of length. I don't think that people's attention span generally stretches that far unless it's a Hollywood blockbuster, which these certainly aren't. But like I say, that's what I'm going to aim to do over this next episode. Just want to say, before I get started into that, thank you once again. The support and everything from everyone, as always, is just completely blowing me away. The amount of nice comments I've had about the vlog so far just gives me a really nice feeling, because I'm achieving what I set out to do, which is essentially to keep you guys informed and to let you know what's going on. And you seem to be really enjoying it, so I'm gonna carry on making them until someone tells me to stop. And I'm going to do my very best to keep all the content up to date. And even when I've been lounging around all day and had to drag myself out of bed and maybe have I tried to fix my hair? No, not really, but I don't put much effort into that anyway. But yeah, I'm going to try my very best to keep it all up to date, keep making these videos for you guys, because it's we're all going to get something out of it. Hopefully, it's lots and lots of great stuff going to come out of these, hopefully. So moving on, like I say, thank you so much. I can't thank you all enough. Just a brief reminder, questions, ladies and gents. Like I say, there's always going to be questions that pop into people's minds. Pop them in the comments section, text them to me, ask me on Facebook, whatever it is. I'll take a note of them, and then I'll make sure that if there is anything that has come up in your minds, that I answer it in either the next or the next relevant video for you. I won't just forget about it. I promise. I will do my very best to answer your question if I'm able to. These subjects that I'm going to talk about now, I'm by no means an expert. I've learned a huge amount over the last 7 or 8 months about these things. I've learned a massive amount about cancer as a subject in the last 17 months since I was diagnosed. And I think I could probably learn about it for the next 17 years. So I'm by no means an expert, but if there is something that I can't answer, I'll honestly tell you, or I'll go away and I'll try and find out the answer if I can. But yeah, so those three areas that I've mentioned, the diet, the supplements and the drugs. We'll start off with talking about a little bit about diet, if that's okay, because this was probably the first thing for me that started changing. And my diet change, for those of you who know me, goes all the way back to, it's actually 2017 now, when I started to dramatically change my diet. Now, before that point, I would describe myself as your regular meat-eating carnivore. All I wanted to eat was meat and potatoes. An Irishman, pint of milk a day, meat, potatoes, all that kind of stuff. I would have 2 steaks for dinner if the opportunity were presented to me. And then back in 2017, there was the first thing that changed my diet was actually dairy was the thing that I started to cut out. I started to limit the amount of milk that I was intaking. The reasons for that were, I'm not going to go into any of the kind of background in too much detail around this, because for those of you who know me, there's lots of different reasons for those dietary changes. And I'm not here to preach to anyone. I'm not here to try and convert anyone into veganism or vegetarianism or talk about animal rights or anything like that. That's not what this is about. But basically, I saw some videos. It made me explore it for myself to get a little bit more information. And what I discovered about dairy was that it's actually not very good for you. And all my life, I've been kind of like, it gets drummed into you by the food industry that dairy is good for you. It's got calcium, it's good for your bones, it makes you healthy and it's strong. And to be honest with you, it's all lies. Look into it for yourself. It's all complete and utter rubbish, ladies and gentlemen. And the only thing that I will say is that cow's milk is meant to feed baby cows. That's all I'm going to say to you. I'm not going to say any more about that. Like I say, I'm not here to get preachy or anything. If you want to do some more research into that side of things, then crack on and go ahead. But I promise you, the stuff that's in it is not doing you any good. It's not doing your health any good. Hence the reason why it is still very much not part of my diet in any way, shape or form. So now I don't drink milk, I don't eat cheese or yogurt or anything that has got any form of dairy in it, butter, anything like that. Everything in my diet now has been replaced with a plant-based alternative when it comes to anything that comes out of another animal's mammary glands. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of that subject. The next thing that went out of my diet was meat. I was doing a charity walk and it was just circumstantial. I think it was just because I was burning through so many calories every day. I was covering, for those of you again who know me, I was attempting to walk from John O'Groats to Land's End for charity. I covered on average 28.1 miles a day for the space of 10 days. I didn't make it. I failed because I had a knee injury. But that's a massive distance to cover every day. It's nearly 30 miles a day, carrying kind of like 75, 80 pounds on my back of all my kit and equipment and food and water and everything. And my body just stopped wanting meat. It was really strange because all I wanted was the carb stuff. Your body knows what it wants. The carbs are your fuel, essentially. You don't get that much fuel and energy from protein. So my body stopped wanting the protein. It just wanted chips and pasta and bread and all those really, really rich carby foods. Anyway, I got home and I was feeling great. Apart from the knee injury, I felt great. I was sleeping well, had very little fatigue, had great energy levels. My mind felt sharper, which was a very unexpected side effect. So I just kind of carried on with it. I became what I would describe as a pescatarian. So I was still eating fish at that point. That was the next thing to go after meat. And then eventually, just before my diagnosis, I became a vegan. The only things that were left to go out of my diet were eggs and cheese. And the only cheese I was eating at that point was the occasional bit of Parmesan on some pasta. I say occasional, maybe once, maybe twice a week, who knows. Maybe not at all for a couple of weeks if I didn't eat any pasta-based stuff. But occasionally I was having pasta and eggs. And then I was just kind of like, well, I'm almost a vegan. I might as well just kind of go the whole hog and just cut everything out and see how we go. That's what I did. And the only thing that's really crept back into my diet since when I was diagnosed, I started to eat eggs again. And it was just because I was losing so much. I've lost so much weight. I mean, look at me. I'm wasting away. I weigh 70 kilos at the moment. I weighed 85-ish 17 months ago when I was diagnosed. There did nothing left of me. So I had to get some protein from another source other than plants. And then there are some good things in eggs, I think. So there's some bad things as well. Don't get me wrong, bad fats and stuff. But fat is something that I need a lot of right now. So eggs have made their way back into my diet. Definitely no cheese. And I have had some meat as well on those occasions when I've been recovering and trying to load my body back up with protein and fats and things like that. I have gone back to have some occasional meat, but my diet has remained consistently plant-based for most of that time. And it's something that I genuinely believe in. Like I said, it's a whole video's worth all on its own. I'm going to talk about it in its own video about diet and changes you can make and things that you can do to improve your own health if you want to, if you're someone like me in a similar situation. But for now, like I say, I'm just predominantly plant-based, a little bit of meat and a bit of eggs every so often. The biggest thing that I want to mention is in relation to the cancer is the removal of sugar. Now, sugar, obviously, I knew everyone knows sugar isn't good for them. Everyone knows it's bad for you. If you don't know that, then there's probably a bit of a problem there that we would need to address separately. But sugar, when it comes to cancer, is a very destructive thing. Now, in a nutshell, what it does is sugar is a cancer's preferred source of fuel. So when you have the cancer cells in your body, wherever they're located, those cells need to feed off something to multiply and to kind of spread and grow. And their number one favored source of energy is sugar. So when you put a high sugar content food into your body and your body extracts it, as well as carby foods, because for those of you who don't know, when we eat carbs, a carb will then essentially turn into glucose when we start to digest it. That is the purest form of sugar, glucose. That's why you get such a big energy uplift from eating carby foods, because it turns to sugar and it gives you energy. It's what your body likes to be fueled on. Unfortunately, it's what cancer likes to be fueled on as well. So again, something to really look out for is minimizing sugar in your diet, and it's something that I've worked incredibly hard to cut out, and I really do feel like it has made a difference. And the one example that I'm going to give at this point for that is throughout my journey with cancer so far, since my very first scans back in March 2020, every time that I'd had a scan, now I can't tell you how many scans I had off the top of my head, but it's been dozens now. Every time I had a scan between March 2020 and then December 2020, so for the period of 9 months, every single time I had a scan, there were more tumours appeared in my liver. Every single time without fail. The first scan there was 1, the next scan there were 2, the next scan there were 3. When they did the operation there were 4, they took out all 4. They then re-scanned me a month after the operation, there were 2 or 3 more back in my liver. Then there was another 1 on the next scan. You kind of get my drift here. Every single time I was scanned, there was more and more tumours had appeared in my liver. Then we get to January of 2021, and that was when I decided to completely try and eliminate sugar from my diet and make this really big dietary change. Since then, since I've had a scan, touch wood, January of this year until now, where are we? We're nearly in August. The last scan that I had was back in June. So we'll say a 6-month period. There were no more new tumours in my body. Now, I think that is pretty remarkable. If you think about the amount of new ones that had appeared in a 9-month period, and then I remove sugar, and then I go for 9 months and there's no new ones. The ones that are there have progressed, they've grown slightly, but there aren't any new ones. Now, cancer's really clever. I remove sugar, cancer will find kind of fuel from elsewhere, and that's some of the other reasons why we're going to talk about some supplements and stuff like that. But like I say, really big takeaway from this, if you're in a similar position, if you know someone who's in a similar position, if you ever find yourself in a similar position, get rid of sugar out of your diet. It's the best piece of advice I think I could give anyone. And I wish I knew that back in March when I was diagnosed. Because if I had known what I know now, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it? It's 2020. If I had known now, if I knew then what I know now, that's what I'm looking for, I think I would probably be in a better position right now. I might not even be making these vlogs. I might be back at work, fully recovered. Who knows? But I really do believe that it would have made a difference if I had have made that change right at the very start. And there's nothing to say that you can't make that change now, even if you're completely fit and well, ladies and gents. So just remember that. So that's a bit about diet. Like I said, I am going to make a separate video that will go through diet all on its own. The next thing is supplements. Now, the supplements, again, I'm going to do exactly the same, do another video. It will take me half an hour to go through every single supplement, probably more than half an hour to go through every single supplement that I take every day. And for the drugs as well, there's a ton of them. And how I'm going to demonstrate that to you is I'm just going to show you very quickly what I take on a daily basis now. So these are my pills. Which I take on a daily basis. I don't know if you can see those. So this is a amazing little pill box, by the way, 7 days a week, 4 compartments. I got it off Amazon. It was about 11 quid. And you can kind of like lay out your medicines for like a whole week, whole 7 days. You could buy 4 boxes if you want to do it by the month. But it saves me so much time. Everything's organized. I can see exactly what I've got to take. These are my ones for tomorrow. So as you can see there, they're pretty full. There's lots of pills. That last one in the end there is what I take. Last one I take before I go to bed, melatonin for sleep. It's a hormone which helps you to sleep. But basically in there's 29 tablets, capsules, pills, whatever you want to call them in there. That's what I take on a daily basis now, almost 30 tablets a day. Now that's a mixture of supplements and these off-the-shelf drugs. The supplements, I'll start off by talking about them. A mixture of lots of different things, just things like multivitamins, things which are there to support your liver function, things which are I change it as I get given blood tests at the hospital. I ask for the blood test results. I've been working with a nutritional therapist, a lady called Jo Gamble. I've been working with. I hope she doesn't mind me using her name, but she's fantastic. If you need a nutritional therapist, I would look her up. I give her my blood test results every time I get them from the hospital. She'll take a look, see if there's any deficiencies going on anywhere in my body, and then we'll adapt my recommendations for diet and also supplements according to. So as an example, at the moment, one of the things that I'm taking is some calcium. I'm taking algae-based calcium. It's plant-based, so it's the best, easiest form for your body to absorb. Get that from just any kind of health food shop, really, somewhere online. I think currently we use, I can't remember the name, it'll come back to me at some point. But it's just a nutritional supplement shop off the internet. So that's one example of one of the things that I'm taking at the moment. Another thing which I'm using at the moment is magnesium. So I was slightly low on magnesium, so I take a supplement for that. Some of them are things, there's a supplement I take called berberine, which is a plant which, I know this sounds really weird and a bit Batman-esque, but it's a plant that grows up on a mountain in Nepal somewhere, that gets crunched up and put into capsulate form, and that apparently has cancer-fighting properties. Whether or not it does or not, is a subject of debate. There's lots of people do lots of studies. There's been nothing definitive, but there is evidence to show that it does have a benefit. So yeah, there's a whole heap of things. Like I say, 30 pills a day is a ton and tons and tons of stuff that I take. And like I said, it has changed dependent on how my body has been responding to different things. And that will also be off the back of some of the traditional drugs that I've been having. A real big benefit to doing this and to having those results analysed properly is when you're on a conventional chemotherapy treatment, it's tough on your body. Your body might really struggle in certain areas. So being able to reboost yourself, give your body those little marginal gains, making that 1-5% difference to your kidney function or your liver function or whatever it might be, can be really, really beneficial. Supporting your own immune system, which has got a massive part in fighting cancer. You couldn't fight cancer without your own immune system. And unfortunately, when you're on chemotherapy, one of the things chemotherapy does is it kicks the crap out of your immune system. So trying to keep that strong and healthy and working with you whilst you're going through those treatments is a really, really good idea, in my opinion. Hence the reason why I'm taking so many different supplements. And again, I do think that it's had a massive, massive effect on my treatment and my general health so far. So that's about the supplements. The last thing is the off-label drugs. Now, these are things which we kind of stumbled upon from various different sources. Friends of mine pointed me first of all into the direction of a clinic in London, which specialises in prescribing these drugs to people. Now, these are prescription drugs. They're legal in the UK. There's nothing illegal about these drugs, but you do need a prescription from a doctor to get them. And an example of one of those is a drug called metformin. Now, this drug is generally used to treat patients who have got diabetes, and it's about controlling blood sugar levels. Spoken about sugar already, hence the reason why this drug is used to try and treat cancer patients in that respect. But you can't get it without a prescription. Now, there are doctors out there willing to prescribe it. It will generally cost you. I can't get these drugs for free anymore. I have to pay a private doctor and a private pharmacy to supply me with these drugs. There are about 8 or 9 different drugs that I'm taking at the moment. Again, I haven't got enough time to go through them all. Metformin is one. There's another one which I take, which is called LDN, low dose naltrexone. Now, this is another drug which apparently it was first used to help people who've got opioid addictions to get over their habits. I can't take that at the moment because I'm on a little bit too much morphine to try and control my pain levels. But when I come off the morphine, I'll be able to start taking the LDN again, which will be great. So really hoping that the stuff I'm going to be doing next week improves the level of pain I've got in my pelvis, so I can then tweak my drugs regime to help me out in that respect. So that's a couple of examples of those drugs. Now, used in these combinations, as I said, there's plenty of research out there. Friends of mine had researched this stuff for relatives of theirs that were going through their own kind of cancer journey. I was then, someone else, a friend of Laura's, stumbled across a book which has been written, a lady called Jane McClelland has written a book called How to Starve Cancer. And that's all about pathways and things that cancers feed off. All the things that I've spoken about, the supplements, the diet, the different types of drugs. This lady was diagnosed with cancer, so it's kind of like 20 years ago, I think now. Same kind of stage as me, stage 4, so it had spread. She was then diagnosed as being terminally ill, and 20 years later, she's still here. And most of what she's done is very similar to myself. She's had the conventional treatments, plus these things which she's done outside of conventional medicine with the supplements and the diet change and the off-label drugs being prescribed to her. And she's still here and fighting fit and cancer-free. So hopefully, I'm hoping that my own journey ends up going the same way. I'm not quite there yet. In fact, I'm a very long way off that. But I've only been on this journey now since January, was when I started to implement the supplements and these drugs and the big diet changes. So hoping that over the coming months we're going to start to see maybe some more benefits coming my way in terms of those. And I won't lie, when I first started to change my diet, it was really tough. There were times when, kind of between January and June, I cheated. I had a square of chocolate when I knew I shouldn't have had one, or a piece of bread when I cannot explain how much I miss bread. So I was a bit naughty from time to time. I didn't stick to my diet 100%. But it was a really big, really tough change to make. I like to think that I'm there now. I'm much more disciplined in my dietary choices now. And like I say, I think I'm feeling the benefits. I did have, over the last couple of months, I think I've told you, the last few weeks especially, there were some big drops in my general health and some deterioration in my symptoms. I think that was down to the trial that I was on, the drugs trial. I think that third round of chemotherapy, I don't think it did me any good. And I'm so convinced of that I am not going to have any more chemotherapy. With the exception, I know I'm going to completely contradict myself here now. Here at this clinic, you will use it, but in very small doses. I was on that drugs trial, I was on the highest available dose that they were able to give to somebody. Bearing in mind, it's the first time they'd ever given this drug to a human being. Or I was one of the first batch of humans, I should say. I wasn't the very first person, I was in the first batch. They were giving me the highest available dose of this drug, which nearly put me in hospital the first night I took it. I got home and I was sick and I had a temperature of 38 degrees. It went through the roof. It was brutal. It really, really was. Very, very tough. I was having it on a weekly basis, whereas the first two chemotherapies I was having on a bi-weekly basis. I really do feel like that one kicked the proverbial crap out of me. Apart from that, like I say, now I'm on the kind of the straight and narrow. I'm not going to have any more of that high dose poison pumped into me anymore, the chemotherapy. I'm going to stick to this stuff and this more homeopathic approach. And fingers crossed, we're all going to carry on this journey and see me improve together. Like I say, I'm a few weeks out of that now. I had some more radiotherapy, which I think gave me a little bit of improvement. I like to think that I'm recovered from that now, because that kicks the crap out of you as well. And now, since I've been here, like I said, over the last few days, I've been here since Wednesday. I'm not going to lie, I got here Monday, Tuesday last week was almost a write-off for me. I felt dreadful. Wednesday, I felt dreadful. Thursday, I didn't feel brilliant, but I was starting to feel better after I'd started to have a couple of treatments. Friday started to feel great. I've been resting up all weekend. I've barely moved all weekend, which has been great. I've just been resting, just letting my body just heal and relax. I've had a couple of treatments here over the weekend, a couple of infusions, a couple of injections for detoxification and stuff like that. Trying my best to drink at least kind of 3-4 litres of water every day to flush my system out as best as possible. And also whilst taking all of these weird and wonderful drugs and supplements. So that's the three things in a nutshell, really. I hope you found that informative. Like I said, I will do one. I promise you, I'll do one for each thing, because there's so much to talk about in each one. There is one other thing that I'm going to mention, which just very, very briefly, and I'm even less of an expert in this subject, but I am going to give it a mention because I think it's worth mentioning, is cannabis, CBD and THC oils. Something which I'm going to take a serious look into. I've had a bit of a look into it so far. I've taken a bit. I think I've seen a little bit of improvement, but I'm going to take a very, very serious look into that when I get home from the clinic here. But I need to do some more research on it. If anyone out there has got any experience with that, I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to this and if you've got some expertise in using CBD or THC, I would really, really, really love to hear your thoughts. So please do get in touch with me. Let me know. Drop me a comment. Drop me a message. And hopefully we can have a chat about that. I'd love to find out a little bit more if you consider yourself to be an expert in cannabis. I'm going to be doing that within the law, ladies and gentlemen. So please do mind out if you're married to a cop or anything. Anyway, enough said about that. But like I said, I'll go through that in another episode in the future. But just want to say thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, the support from you guys is overwhelming. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say thank you enough. I'm just completely humbled by you guys every single day. Really hope you enjoy this video as well. I'll be making more throughout the week. I've got a full day worth of treatment tomorrow. So as long as I'm not completely and utterly banjaxed, I'll be doing another video. I'll let you know how tomorrow goes. Tomorrow I'm having my first round of hypothermic treatment on the tumour in my rectum. So that's going to be really, really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what that, I don't really know what it entails. So hopefully I'll be able to pass on all that information to you. I'll try not to be too graphic about some of it maybe. Just a reminder, any questions, comments or anything, put them in the link. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. And I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Like I say, stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. Please do take every precaution at home. We're still not out of the woods yet with this whole corona malarkey. I hope that you're all enjoying getting back to your normal lives and seeing friends and family. I can't wait to get home and pay a few more visits and see a few more of you face to face, especially some of my family. So you guys out abroad who live in Ireland, I haven't seen you guys in ages. I'm going to come out there as soon as I possibly can to come and see you guys. I miss seeing a lot of you so much, and you guys have been so supportive as well. I'll see you soon, my brother, cousins, aunts, uncles, all you guys. Love you so much. And yeah, see you all soon. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye bye.